Okay, good. So today being Friday, we'll go into a new topic. Uh, I said yesterday we'll start with Hibernate, but before we go into Hibernate, I want to touch basics on the database. So once we cover the database, then if we go into Hibernate, you will understand the queries because Hibernate deals with dealing with the database, writing queries, so all those things. So when I speak about joins or queries, you should be able to understand. So we'll start with the database. To tell in layman's term, database is a storage. It is similar to a folders of files we keep in the system or a book we keep in our shelf or any piece of data we write and keep in a paper or anything wherever we store information, that is a database. But the database, the term database is given to something which we store in an organized way, in a in a more in a efficient way where we can retrieve the data much faster. Let's say we write a piece of information in a paper and we put it in our shelf. When someone is going to ask, it will be difficult. If we are going to keep as papers separately, it will be difficult. But if we keep it in a book and we have a index, if someone is going to ask, we can easily refer to the book and tell. If we take a telephone directory, the index will show the page numbers and the alphabet. Okay, I am going, okay, someone is asking about Arjun's telephone number. We go, okay, A is in page number 1 to 10. We go to that page and we see, okay, where is AR? So we go, so we know the logical order how to search in a book because our brain is programmed in that way. The same way, the data, I can store the data as file in my folder, but it will be tough for me to retrieve it. I have to go inside each of the folder and see. So that is one way of storing. A database is something where we store the data in a logical way. Sorry, someone has a question.
No, Rajesh.
Okay, okay. So a logical way of storing the data is called the database. We store that data in a more structured way of rows and columns. So we call it as RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. So that is the original name. The word uh, the local word which we speak is the database RDBMS. That's the original term, Relational Database Management System. Which brings us a question: do we have any other database? Yes, we do. We have a non-relational database system. Those are called NoSQL. So, okay, I'll add one more slide. So we have a relational database management system RDBMS. So what all comes under RDBMS? MySQL, you would have heard of SQL, which is MS SQL from Microsoft, and Oracle DB, Teradata, that's a warehouse database. And what else? Anything else you know? So non RDBMS, this is called NoSQL, which means there will not be any SQL statements. So there are many database like Hadoop, and we have a. I was doing a POC till yesterday. MongoDB, and from Google we have the Firestore. So these are all few non-relational database where the data are stored as JSON. If you remember, if you had seen the video from yesterday's class, I showed you what a JSON is and how a JSON is structured. So the data are stored as a JSON in non-relational database system. Okay, so high level, these are the two different models. Any traditional web application is going to use RDBMS. The reason being, it is easy to store the data, it is easy for retrieving, easy for maintenance, debugging, all these are easy. But Facebook, applications like Facebook or Instagram, WhatsApp, or any social media networking application or any mass application will use a non-relational database system. The reason being, the retrieval time will be very fast, but debugging and knowing the data will be tough. People have to be educated to read JSONs, especially Firestore stores in a different format. It stores as
Which one are using NoSQL, Rajesh? Microsoft?
Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook uses, WhatsApp uses. So actually nowadays, the application does not use a single database. They go into microservices and multiple database model for their backend system, which needs less access, which means data which will be accessed very limited. They'll go into RDBMS. And user profile data or the messages data, Facebook post, those are all retrieved frequently, right? So it's going to be a million hit per second or so, because everyone will be accessing. If you take a particular second, at least like 10,000 users will be accessing. So for those things where frequent retrieval of data is required, they store it in non-RDBMS. So it's a mix-up of database. Nowadays, there is no single database which is used. They use more than one. So this is the high-level story of how database came into picture. Now we'll go into we'll cover only RDBMS, as non-RDBMS is out of scope and it also needs more time. So we'll cover RDBMS, but using this knowledge, you can learn non-RDBMS. It is not a tough thing. Okay, so the RDBMS consists of tables. We call as tables. Tables will have a rows and columns. The columns is going to have the data type. This is similar to a Excel file. In Excel, we'll have rows, we'll have columns. That entire rows and columns, a bunch is called a sheet in the Excel. The same terminology, the sheet is equivalent to tables, rows is rows and columns are columns, and each cell is having a data type. I have a database uh, available just for training. I pulled it up. You have to install the database in your machine for reading this. You can go to MySQL downloads and you can download and install the server. Here you have to go, and here it is, MySQL community server, which is for reading purpose. This is a free version, but just ensure that when you install it, after you are done, that is when you have completed your study, you go to task manager and stop the server. The task manager, in the process, if you search for MySQL that will be running, you stop it, otherwise unnecessarily your system RAM would be taken, because servers should not be installed in local machine. It is going to slow down your machine. So just a word of caution when you use it. So here it is, MySQL community server 5.7. Select the operating system and the OS version, and here you have the different binaries. You can download nearly 350 MB to 450 MB is there. You download, it's an exe, you install it, your server will be installed, the services will be running, the server will be ready to access. This is one way. You can also download, if you are a .NET guy, you can also download MS SQL. There we call as Express Edition, which means these are all free tools available for study purpose. These cannot be used as production because this cannot withstand heavy loads, but just for reading purpose you can use it. This will have limits in size, security, all those things. So here developer, full SQL Server 2019. Developer is a full feature free edition use as a development and test database in non-production environment. Clearly, they have given a caution because this might crash. So don't try to use this in production. Production you have to purchase. It's a licensed one. So now if you go with Azure or GCP, by default they provide the server. Just we have to pay. That includes the license cost. They'll have the server installed, set up, everything will be done and ready. So Azure provides it, GCP provides, AWS also provides. So depending on the hosting provider, they provide the database. If you want to separately install, this is the way. So you can download the developer edition and also express edition. Anything you can download. This comes around like 3 GB, I think. Downloads will be 3 GB, and the total server size will be like 10 to 15 GB. So unless you have a high-end machine, do not try to download this server. That's the reason I'm going with MySQL. That's a lightweight server, but that too I have just given a warning that you have to go to the task manager and stop it when not in use. Otherwise, by default, when your machine is starting, the server will start. You will be wondering, I have not opened any application, but still my memory is gone. The CPU usage is high. So just ensure that. All right. Okay, so since this is said now, I have a database ready for the training purpose, just for training. Okay. So the first thing is I'll create one table. So I will create a table as T001 users, and I want, let me write it here. So I'm going to create a table T001. Just a naming convention. T is for table. Why do we need to tell T? Because apart from table, database can have SP, stored procedures. It can have functions. It can have triggers. It can have views. So these are different concepts. So to identify a table, we give T. That's a standard like which I was taught and I've been following so far. But depending on your project, however they have given, you can follow it. Otherwise, you follow the standard. SP will start as SP. So SP, a function will start as function. Trigger will start at TRI. So these are some naming convention. By seeing itself, you'll be able to see what it is. It's a table or not. Then 001 is the numbering series, because any application you'll have a minimum of 50 tables. If it's a huge application, we'll have 200 to 300 tables. Like one of the application I worked, I had around 350 tables. So in that case, organizing and remembering the tables are very tough. So we use a series. Zero series will mean a series which starts with 0 will mean all the common table. A series which starts with let's say 1, T100, this will be a particular module. Let's say purchase order means a PO module. So the next series will be T200, which means under the PO module, I can store 100 tables. Between 100 to 200, I have 100 numbering series. So I can store 100 table in this module alone, and a module will not exceed 100 tables. So this is one better way. And one more better way, like one more tips here is when you number a table, just jump 10 numbers. The next number will be T010 underscore the next table. Okay. The reason being, during the design, if you are not sure, you may forget like the next table, or suddenly there might be a requirement coming in and you want to insert into the next series. So if you are using the next number immediately, then you will not know. I mean, you will not be able to use the same number. So if you jump like 10, you will give a gap of 10 number here. So if there is any sudden requirement, you can insert the next table as T002. This you can do it only when you are not sure that you have done the design correctly, and when you have a doubt that you might get some table in the future. So these are just few tips.
Rajesh, I didn't get that one. 001 underscore user is the first
Table name.
row.
No, table name.
Table.
That's all.
Okay.
Okay. It is like a folder name.
Okay.
In the Windows, we have a folder name. That is what is table name. So
Okay. And 10 we are going to give the other name.
yes. So I'll give here the username, and I'm going to have 4 columns. I'm going to create. Okay, 4 columns I need to create. What are the 4 columns? A user can have a user ID.
Rajesh, this SQL is a little bit different. The UI. Usually
Yes.
it has-
Yeah. The client will be different. There are various clients available. So
Okay.
but the logic is same. Just the
Okay.
UI will be different.
Okay.
Okay, you can try out any user. I mean any UI.
Mhm.
So we'll have any table. Just always remember, any table you must have a primary key. We call as a primary key, which is the index. Meaning, that's a unique key for identifying each of the rows. And user is going to have a user ID as the primary key. Then we'll have the user name. Then the user is going to have a password and is active. Let's have these 5 columns. So first is user ID. I'll go user underscore ID. What is the data type? Int, varchar, text, date, numeric. So all these are there. You have JSON also. So I'll go int, then length. So you can see here is the inner mouse select. So I'll give length as 8, which means 000000001 until that digit I can go. And default is I don't want any default collation. So these are the different ways in which the data will be stored. So for now we will not cover this. Attribute, there is no attribute whether it's binary, unsigned, so we don't. Whether null can be allowed. Index, you see here, this is what is important. We have a primary, unique, index, full text, and spatial. We select in primary or unique. I'll give primary, which means the 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 column will be auto generated. Okay, what it is? Add index. Yes, I want to add an index. Size is 8 and go. Then what I have comments. This is just for my name. This is a primary key, and this is not. This is just to move it. For now, this primary key alone. So this is a primary key, which means this will be auto generated. Now the next column in the table is username, password, and active. I'll go ahead. Username I have given continuously. I'll remove it. Username. The username will be a text. So varchar, and the username maximum how much they can give, like 20 characters. I'll restrict to 20. And there is no unique or that it's not primary. So I'll leave it. Password. The password is varchar, and password I'll give 30 characters. The reason being, password will not store it as it is. Will not store as a plain text. We will encrypt the password. So when we encrypt, the number of text, the number of characters is going to increase. So let's have it as 30. If needed, we'll alter to 50. And then is active. Is active. Is active is going to be, I can have it as bit or I can have it as boolean. I'll have it as boolean. And default is true or false. There is no value. Okay, I'll leave it as it is. That's all. Now preview SQL. So this is, I'll just copy this. I want to show this to you. This is called new slide. I'll just paste it. I'll increase the size. Okay, great. So in the next, okay, I'll just save it. Otherwise, it's going to time out and I have to again do it.
Rajesh, I didn't. Could you please? We get the code right. Select star. How we got? While we are going to preview the SQL. Okay.
Yeah, preview SQL. Okay, incorrect prefix key. The key used part isn't a string. The use length is longer than the key part, or the storage engine doesn't support unique key. Okay, let me. Where is the index? Is it primary key? Auto increment. I have to enable this. It's an AI means auto increment. This is okay, but where is the key? Incorrect prefix key. I did a mistake. Index. In a pop-up I gave, right? That was.
Rajesh, here the user ID has to be unique. That's why we given as a primary key, right?
Yes. Actually, there is a difference between unique and primary key. Primary key means usually it will be an int, and usually we provide as auto increment. Unique we will give, like, let us say the email ID field in a table has to be only one email ID should be used only once. If that is the use case, then we set it as unique. It's not primary key. Slightly different logic, both are.
I didn't get it, Rajesh.
Unique means a column value can be only once used in the entire database.
Yes.
Okay. Primary key means it is an int and we can automatically increment the next value. We are not bothered about the value. All we want is a unique value for each row. Unique we use when we want to validate a user. Like primary key, we will not. Unique will be user supplied value to make you like clear. Primary key will be an auto generated value usually. Primary key also can be supplied by the user. Mostly it will be auto generated, but unique will be supplied by the user. Let's say
I got the unique. You can save email address as the primary key.
Email address will be rather than primary key. Unique will be easy. Unique will be the best for email ID.
Primary key, if you have any example.
Primary key usually will be an int number. We'll give an auto generate number. The system will take care of generating the number. Every table will have a one column as primary key, so that we can add it to the index.
Okay.
One with example, when we see, you will slowly understand it. Okay. I have to delete and redo something. I did a mistake. Okay, let me close it out. Okay, let me close it out. Anyway, I have that query create table database name dot table name. This is the first column, int not null command. This is a primary key. Username password is active. Boolean not null, and I'll remove this. This is the index. I'll just run this and see. Format. Okay. I'll copy in this format and keep it. All right. Go empty result, query took .1, there a table is created here. So now if we go here, the table structure is user ID, and this is a primary key value, username, password, and inactive. Now I can just go and give the values. I'll go to the structure. Mistake, I clicked something, right? Okay, I can go to the structure. This is the table structure. Okay. Insert. Here it is. Into this table, I want to insert a value. User ID. Okay, one second. User ID, I have to make auto increment. User ID, I will. This is a primary key. Change. I'll just enable that auto increment alone and save it. Incorrect. There can be only one auto. It must be defined as a key. Okay, so we have done already. I'll go to insert them, because usually insert will not ask the primary key. That's why I got confused. So this is a different UI. Usually I'm used to SQL YOG. I'll show you that. This is a simple SQL YOG. This is a simple UI for connecting with the MySQL database. Database was different. This is a client to connect to the my database. I'll insert one name as Rajesh. Password is, we'll change this password later. This will not be visible actually. And active is 1. Okay, what it is telling, incorrect column. That is why I wanted to make this as an auto increment. Something as well. Once again, let me go to the database and check it out. Structure. Okay, collation, attribute, null, default, extra, more, primary. Do you want to execute alter at primary key? Okay. Okay, so this is a primary key. Now if I go to insert, okay, auto increment is not working. This thing to be changed. Auto increment. Okay, it is set now. Now I go here. This will not be user entered value. Let's try once again. Because when I give something as auto increment, the system will take the, okay, see, when it is auto increment, it will automatically take the value and insert it. I'll take this query and I'll paste it here. I want to show something using these queries. Okay. Now going back here, let us go to the table and see the data. You can see here the first data, the user ID is 1, automatically it got generated. Username is Rajesh, password is 1234, active is 1. So this is one, you can visualize this as one Excel sheet which is having 1, 2, 3 and 4 columns and 1 row. Edit, copy, delete, these are just a regular feature in the Excel. Is this clear?
Yeah, Rajesh, just we are creating.
Yes. So I can add as many rows I want. Now we'll come back to this sheet where I have. Okay, so we have different types of statements. We have DDL, which is data definition language. We have DML, data manipulation language. We have DQL, data query language, and DCL, data control language. We have TCL, which is transaction control language. Okay, these are the definitions or the label given to the queries. That's all. So this case, I took one query, right? When I created a table, I copied one query and kept create table. Using this query, I create a table. This is called DML, data manipulation language. So using a query, so we can create. There is a green color highlighted, right? Create. Create is used to create a database like table, function, view, stored procedures. Drop is used to delete an object. Alter is used to structure. Truncate is used to truncate the data and reset the primary key. Comment is used to add comment, and rename is to rename the column name. We have a DML where insert, update, and delete. Now we have an UI, and I created using a UI like insert. Let's say I don't have this UI. I am having only terminal. In that case, I have to paste my insert query here. So what I will do, that's a DML, data manipulation. I'll copy my insert query. Where it is? Here. I'll copy my insert query now, and I will paste it here. Now I'll go. Today is Friday. So Friday I will go. Friday at 1 to 3. If I try to execute this statement, there is an execute. Inserted row ID is 2. 2 got inserted, and this is the query with charts. If I go and browse the data, the second row would have been inserted with the second ID. So instead of going through a UI, using a query, I can run and I am able to insert a data. This is the use of the query. This is what we call it as DML statements. Without going to a UI, we can create a database. We can wrap a database. We can do these things: alter, truncate. Say for everything there is a syntax. Like how we had for insert, we have for update, we have for delete, and for DQL is to select the database, select the data. This case, I went to browse. If I don't want to go into browse, I want to go here, select star from user, select. Okay, it is automatically coming. Execute, go. If I give this, I will get the result. The same result I'm getting here. This is a DQL, data query language, which is a select statement. Then we have DCL, which is grant and revoke. This is used mainly to control the database access for a user. Currently, I am logged in as this user, and this user is having access to this database. Now, if I want to revoke this access, I can execute the revoke query. The revoke access to the database name to the user. If we give that's a syntax. If we give that, the access to the database will be revoked. Okay, I have to show you documentation, right? So for every, depending on what database you are using, you go to the documentation. It is not a single document. MS SQL will have its own documentation. MySQL will have its own. but there will not be much of a difference in the documentation. Just that MS SQL will have few syntaxes more than the MySQL. So where is okay reference manual, server reference manual, correct. 8 MySQL reference manual. Where is the SQL statement? Okay. Data. So I was telling, right? Data definition statements. You can go here and check the syntax. With every new server release, these would be changing. So how to alter a database? What did we do? We were doing an insert. So let's go into create table, create row. We have to see not DDL, it is DML, data manipulation statements. Because we are just manipulating with the data. We are not defining what the data is. Insert statement. We were doing an insert. So here it is. This is what the structure is. Insert into table name. This is optional. The whatever you see here, you can give this as optional, these values. So we use partition for different purpose. I will not go deep. The column names. If you compare what we gave here, insert in okay, insert into table name. The documentation says insert into your table name, column names followed by values. So column names are in the bracket followed by values. In the bracket we give the values. Column names are in this parenthesis followed by the values. And that's all. So you can refer this documentation and you'll get a detail on what all this. You can go through in detail. They're given here with examples. See, insert table, columns, and values. If you want to insert multiple values, this is how you can. Multiple rows. First row, second row, third row. So at a stretch, I can give all the values, all the rows. And so this you will get n number of the features, all the features which are available. You can go over these things. Suppose you want to delete a row. Let's say, let's take this example. I have these two rows. I want to delete the second row. Then I will delete using primary key. So I have to write a statement delete from T001 users. There, what is my primary key? User ID. User ID equal to 2. If I go and run this, do you want to delete? Yes. One row affected. So if I go to, I'll go there itself. I will select from user. If I go select, I have only one row. So this comes under DML, data manipulation. I'm inserting, deleting, alter, update. So all these come under insert, update, delete. Now grant revoke visa. TCL is for committing, rollback, and save point and transaction. This comes with the store procedures. I'll go over this later. Okay, any questions so far?
I'm good, Rajesh.
Okay. Next, we have something before I go into this primary key. we have something as primary key and foreign keys. So let us take this example. I have a user T001 user is my table. Now let us say the user is having a personal information. Let's take this. So T002 address. Let's take as address. User and address. In this case, the user, I'll be inserting 01 as the primary key, and I have given Rajesh as the name. Now in address field, I have to tell that for Rajesh, the address is, let's say, number 1. Okay, number 1. So what we have to do, we have to create one more table as address. Address will have its own ID, primary key. Address ID as primary key. And what column it can have? It can have a username, this which will be referring to the users table, and it will have an address. Now with this type, there is an issue. If I'm going to structure my table this way, I will be inserting the Rajesh in this table and also this table. If tomorrow I am editing my name and making something else, I have to change here also. This is not the only case. I might refer this table in 10 to 20 places. So I have to update in all the places. This is a drawback. So we don't prefer storing redundant data. We store the primary key of one table into the another table, that is called foreign key. So T001 user, or we'll have it as user ID. I'll give as FK for understanding. This is a foreign key. This is a primary key of T00, T001 user table. So let's create and check it out. I'll close these documentations. Okay. Now we'll create one more table. This time I will use the syntax. I have this DDL statement, data definition language statement. I will copy this. Oh, it's very small. Okay, so create table. My table now is user T002 underscore address, and it will be address ID. The length will be same, comment it will be same, user name will not be there. Instead of that, address, the actual address, the address will not have 20. I will keep it as 100. Now there is no password column and there is no active column. So I'll delete this and I will create. Let us see. I'll go to SQL window and I will paste it. Okay, what is the problem? One comma has come at the end. Oh, this is correct. At the end it has come. This line, remove the comma and go. So okay, a table is created. If I refresh here, okay, I got this table, address table. Now if you see the address table, we have an address ID and address. So let me add some data here. I'll insert data. Address ID, it is primary key. So address I will give as number 26 19 cross. I'll give this and go. Okay, what's the problem? Incorrect integer for address ID. So auto increment is not set. And go back. Address ID more. It is a primary key. You can note here until this and until I click on this. Okay, there is no key icon here next to the name. Once I click OK, there will be a key icon, and this symbol will come in all the tools. Whichever tool you have, you can see a key icon. This means a primary key. Now I'll go back here and I'll give as number 26, 19 cross street. Do OK. What is integer for address? I didn't give auto increment. I only gave primary key. I will be edit. There is an AI auto increment save. Now insert number 26. Go. Okay, it got inserted. But using this table, we will not know whose address is it. Okay, number 26 is address, but for which user? I can have more users. That is why we add one more column here as foreign key. Here we add as add one after the address go, and this will be the user ID. Just to not to confuse, I'll make it as FK integer and okay, default value. Okay, I'll save it here. I'll go to structure. No, this does not have an option there. The other tool we used to have a foreign key. Okay, indexes, create an index, okay. Foreign key. 1 second, let me just. Okay, foreign key constraint, here it is. So, constraint name, I'll give as user ID FK. This is just a name for us. Which column should be my foreign key? User ID FK. And what is the database and which is the table from the user table? What is the column? User ID. So my column user ID FK in this database, the current schema, has to refer this schema, this table, and this column. So on delete, it has to restrict, which means if I delete the original table, I should not be able to delete it because there is a foreign key reference. I'll create this. Okay, what is the problem? You cannot add or update a child row. A foreign key constraint fails. Why? Because I already have one record here. So I will delete that record. I'll go back to the structure, relational view, constraint name, user ID, FK, column name, user ID, FK, schema name, user, and user ID. Preview. So this is how alter table works. We alter table, add a constraint. What is the constraint? It's a foreign key. So these syntax you will not use nowadays because all the UI editors have have become so sophisticated that nowadays we don't even write these statements. It's all instant. Everything you can see using an editor. So just for knowing purpose, I am showing. Okay, what happened? It is executed successfully. Now, if I go and browse the data, okay, I'll try to insert one data now. Now, okay, note this one. I'm giving number 26 alone. This is a primary key, so I need not give automatically, it will increase. The foreign key I'm not giving here. Okay, I'll do go. It is throwing error because incorrect integer value. You have to provide a reference to the original table. So what we will do, I will go here, but how do I click to dismiss this notification? Okay, user ID. Rajesh 1 Rajesh. I'll select this column from the other table. Insert into Rajesh. The foreign key is 1. Here I will change the foreign key as 2. I have not inserted it. I have just inserted row ID 2. I will just add. I'll give 2 as a foreign key and try to insert. It should throw error that 2 is not available because there is no user record with 2. I have only
Rajesh, I am confused with the primary key and foreign key here.
Okay, so
we can say the primary key, for example, we are entering into one of the organization. If they give any ID number, it's a primary key or Aadhaar number.
No, primary key will be you don't relate your data with the primary